Hello everybody, Jordan with Cloud Underground here again on another Monday. I hope everybody's having a great start to their week. Today I'm going to teach you how to get Blender set up for designing objects for 3D printing. But first, this video is brought to you by the RPG of Life Incubator from Cloud Underground. Make starting a company as straightforward as playing an RPG with the RPG of Life Incubator from us, Cloud Underground. Start building your business for free today. Link in the description below. Go get it now. Alright, so this is a Blender instance that I have running in an Underground Nexus instance. If you are unfamiliar with how we got this working, then you should go check out some of my previous videos on how we got Blender going in Linux. But anyway, so this is just a regular old Blender instance. But today I'm going to show you how we get this set up for 3D printing, because before we just kind of got it going and started making objects. So the first thing that we're going to do is click on General, and we're just going to go to a general scene here. Okay, now we're 3D printing. Let's open up this little guy over here. And if you look over here in our location, you'll see that all of our units right now are in meters. And that's great if you're 3D printing a house, but most of us don't have that capability, and so meters is really not an appropriate unit to be using for this stuff. So how do we fix that? Well, here's how we do it. So if you go over here to the right side of our window where we have all our like tools and stuff, we want to go to Scene and go to Scene Properties. So here's our scene. And then what we want to do is click on Units here. So you see Units right here. You're going to click on that. And then what we want, instead of length being meters, we want to make it millimeters. And then because we've now changed essentially the scale, we're going to make the units scale consistent with millimeters. So if the unit scale is 1 meter, then for millimeters it would be 1/1000th of a meter, right? There's 1,000 millimeters in a meter, so it would be 0.001 here that we put in, not a -1, just 0.001. Press enter. And now we are working in millimeters over here. However, our scene is set so that our squares, our grid on this is still set to meters. So the way we fix that is, you see this arrow that says overlays. It's next to these like two circles that are next to each other. Right here, we're going to change our scale here also to 0.001, because that's 1/1000th of a meter. I press enter, and then our scale is back. So now we have our scene set to be looking at millimeters. The other thing I'm going to do right now is, we've got this animations pane here on the bottom, and we're not animating anything, so we're just going to close that area. So that's another thing. And that pretty much gets us set up so that we're using millimeters in our scene here instead of meters. A couple more things that I like to have set for my Blender instance is, we're going to go over here to Edit and then Preferences. And then we're going to click on Add-ons. And there's a couple of really nice add-ons. One of them is the Bolt Factory. So let's see if we can find that here. So we want two things. One, we do want this 3D print mesh 3D print toolbox. This is a very handy tool to have when you're designing things for 3D printing. So we're going to click on that guy. And then we're going to find the Bolt Factory somewhere in here. Where is the Bolt Factory? Right here. Add Mesh Bolt Factory. So we want Add Mesh Bolt Factory selected, and we want mesh 3D print toolbox. So those are two really useful add-ons that we want Blender to be using. So let's set both of those. Now we can close this window, and you'll see over here we now have a 3D print tab in addition to item tool view. There's this 3D print tab. And we'll talk about that more here in a sec. The other thing that we just did is if we go to add and mesh, we can now add a bolt here, whereas we didn't have that option before. So if we click bolt, we can add a bolt, and if we open up this little add bolt tab here in the bottom left, let me make sure you can see everything that I'm doing. Yeah, I think we're good. You can add a bolt, and this is where you can determine, all kinds of things. The length of your thread, the major diameter, minor diameter. So the major diameter is going to be the edge of the end of the threads, and then the minor diameter, I believe, is the trough in your threads. You've got pitch, which is how many threads there are per, millimeter or whatever it is, and a bunch of stuff. So you can now make any bolt with that, and that's super helpful for designing stuff where you might need a bolt or a nut. So if you want bolt, then you've got bolt. Otherwise, you can select under the model here nut instead, and we'll get a nut, and all the same settings apply. So yeah, that's how we can add nuts and bolts to our prints, which is definitely a useful thing to be able to do. Let's see. Another thing, if we go back to preferences and we go to system, another thing that I think could be very helpful is increasing your number of undo steps. So right now, the default is just 32 undo steps with no memory limit. It'll go back 32 steps regardless of what you did, regardless of how much memory that takes. I think what I'm going to do here is move this up to 1,000. Which is a lot of steps, so I guess 256 is as many as it'll let me do. Yeah. And then I'm going to add a memory limit to it here, and we're just going to make sure it doesn't go over 500. I believe that's megabytes, right? Yeah, maximum memory usage in megabytes. So half a gigabyte worth of steps, and then, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do that so that I can undo more stuff. I think that's a useful thing. I don't think we're really worried about anything else here in our preferences, but those are a couple of major things that I did want to do. And okay, so now we're pretty well set up for 3D printing. Another thing that I'm going to do, so if you have a 3D printer that you're specifically designing parts for, I think it can be helpful to have your bed represented here. And so we're going to make this square be my bed for my 3D printer, essentially. So the dimensions of my bed are 250 millimeters by 210 millimeters. And, oops, 210. There we go. There we go. So now we've got my 3D printer's bed represented here in our Blender, and I'm going to go ahead and make it 20 mils thick, and then so we can now kind of use this if we designed a part that needs to be flattened, like it's round on the bottom or something. We can use our bed to flatten it by using a boolean, as you've seen in some previous videos. And then the other thing I'd like to do, so this is 20 millimeters thick, the bed. I'd like it to be directly, right now it's extending above the top of the axes here. It's going, into positive Z. We want it to be 0Z and then negative Z. So it's 20 millimeters thick. So if we do minus 10 here in the Z direction, that'll get it square against, you can see right now it's pressed up against the axes essentially. And so that's what we want. And then we have to do a Control A while this thing is selected, and we'll do all transforms. And now it's just zero. That zeroes it out. and we can see it or not if we want to see it or don't want to see it for whatever reason, but it's nice to have the bed there set up. I'm going to go ahead and leave the camera and light source just in case we want to render something at some point, but I think that's a good default scene right here. When I open up Blender, this is what I want to see essentially. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go down to defaults, and we're going to save the startup file. All right, so default, save startup file. And now let me just check and make sure, but I believe if we do a new file, let's open like one of our old ones. Hold on, let's save this first as our startup. Okay, just save our scene here. Okay, now we can go open recent. We'll open the desk organizer that we were looking at last week, and then let's just do a new one, general, and boom. Okay, we've got our default scene here with our print bed, and everything's in millimeters again, right? Yeah, it's all in millimeters. If we go to open recent and go back to my desktop organizer, we won't save this. I think let's just see if this is all still in. So this is all still in meters because we had this saved before I changed things in our scene. So now if we go back to just a new scene, a new general scene, don't save this, yeah, we get our nice starting scene. So that's how I like to get Blender, that's how I like Blender to be set up for when I'm just going to open it up and start making an object. So, and I wanted everybody to know how to do these things, like set the scale and get a default scene setup. So now you know all that. The other thing I'm going to talk about just for a moment is we added the bolt factory, and we added that 3D printing, although now I don't see it. So let me see, if I go back to object and I want to add a mesh bolt, okay, it's there. Oh, okay, we do still have the 3D print tab. So you just have to have an item selected first before that shows up. So let's go ahead and add a cube is typically how you kind of start designing things, or it depends on what you're making, I suppose. But so we're going to add a 30 millimeter cube to this, and let's get it set so that it is sitting on top of our print bed instead of sitting through it. Okay, that's great. And let me show you something. So let's go ahead and edit this object, and we're going to delete this face. I'm going to just right click and go to delete face, and then I'm going to click on these 2 points, and if you press Y, we will duplicate those points, and then we can move them with G, and I'm going to want to move them in the X direction a little bit, so we'll just do that. We can make a new face by selecting all of those and then pressing the F key to make a new face, and then we can just close it all up by doing this. And let's see I do that, and I fail to fully enclose this. So if we go back to object, we can go to this 3D print tab, and we can click check all, and it will tell us if we have non-manifold edges, which are edges that they're essentially open, they're not closed all the way, or any other problems with this object. And you can see it's saying we have 3 non-manifold edges, which will be this one, and this one, and then everything else looks pretty good. I generally ignore overhangs because it's going to consider this bottom face to be an overhang face. And then if you want to see where are these non-manifold edges, we can click edit here, and then we can actually click on the non-manifold edges and it highlights them. So now we can see these are our non-manifold edges that we need to do something about. And if we click that, yeah, you can see it's complaining about bottom faces being overhang. It's not really, so we don't have to worry about that. But these non-manifold edges are a problem. And then, you know, if you start to design something that gets really complicated, we will see all kinds of issues. Like, let's open up our desk organizer again. Let's not save that. And let's go to the 3D print tab and check this thing. And so let's select it, 3D print, check all. So this thing has 8 non-manifold edges. Where are they? Looks like we've got a weird edge in here that it doesn't like. And where else are we seeing them? Sometimes it's helpful to make it clear so that you can actually see all the edges. It looks like a lot of them, all of them might just be right here on this P, which would probably be relatively easy to fix. And sometimes you can use this cleanup button and actually fix things with the cleanup button. So let's like just make this manifold and see if it fixes it or if it messes it up. And let's check it again. And now we have no manifold, but we got some zero faces, which can be a problem. So let's go ahead and if we make manifold, yeah, it got rid of a couple edges to get rid of those zero faces. So we lost 2 zero faces. Where are our zero faces now? Looks like there's some weird faces in the lettering. Probably none of that would actually matter. A lot of times your slicing software is capable of fixing some of these issues on the fly. And so if you have small problems with your object, it won't be a big deal. But it depends on how bad they are. And of course, then it's complaining about all these overhang faces. That doesn't matter. Really, what I'm tending to look for is intersect faces, any of these really. Thin faces, non-flat faces, zero faces. So non-flat faces are faces that they have some, like, so these are rectangles, right? You can actually have them not be all in a plane, and that causes them to be considered non-flat. These ones are probably fine, but sometimes they'll, like, here, let me make a new object again. Don't save this. Let's add a mesh cube. And let's move it up a little and make it bigger. We'll just do it here at the scale, the dimensions. Make it 20 by 20. So generally, like I said, I'm looking for non-manifold stuff, but sometimes we can have these non-flat faces. And what does a non-flat face look like? So if we have a lot of times, so if you have a triangle, you cannot have a non-flat face. But when you have faces that are made up of more points than 3, so like one of these guys, we could do this. Let's just move this single point like that. Okay, now this is a non-flat face. Now here, let me move the object up. So this is a non-flat face because, like, if we check this, oh, it didn't see it. Oh, that's so funny that it doesn't actually realize that it's non-flat. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is definitely a non-flat face because it's not sure where is the bend going to be. Is the bend going to be here? Is the bend going to be here? So, I mean, if I take a knife and I cut it, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So now these are both flat faces, but before this is a non-flat face because it's kind of curving, and your slicing software or whatever it is going to just determine if the cut should be here. Oops. Right, like that, or if the cut should be here, like this, and those two things are not the same, and you may get an undesirable result depending on how it comes out. So anyway, that's how the 3D print tool works. It's pretty nice. Sometimes you can clean it up. Sometimes you have to clean it up manually by just deleting faces or doing whatever you've got to do to fix the problems. But that's yeah. It's a really handy tool to have in Blender and have ready to go if you're designing items for 3D printing. And the scene, it's really nice to have a scene set the way that you want it. So now we've gone over all that, you understand how to set the scene and how to use some of these tools. So I think with that, I'm going to call it on the blendering today. And I'm just going to remind you, so like I said earlier in the video, I'm with Cloud Underground. A little about Cloud Underground. We are a venture capital company that helps cloud native businesses get funding. Building custom forged enterprise servers is part of how we help clients meet their funding goals. And I'm about to jump into a server that I created, but first I'd also like to say that I've talked about these Raspberry Pi cases. So this is the dual Pi Raspberry Pi case. It holds 2 Raspberry Pis. You can see there's only one actually installed in this case at the moment, but it's just for demonstration purposes. We just got these released on our website for sale, so you can now buy these cases. They are a little on the expensive side, but that's because we use premium Noctua fans. We use high endurance SD cards. That's what you get if you buy one of these. So you get really good SD cards. You get one of these SATA to USB adapters so that you can use an actual 2.5 solid state SSD to run your Pi. And they're really nice little units. And they also come with power supplies. They come with everything you need to get your Pi going, including an HDMI cable that allows you to do some debugging. We typically run these headless and use SSH or our webtops to access the Pis, but you can run a full desktop if you wanted with the HDMI cable, or you can just use that for debugging purposes. But these kits come with all that stuff, which is why they cost what they do. And if you are interested in buying one of these, you go to our website, as you can see right here. It's cloudunderground.dev. And then you can click on the 3D print shop and it will go to where you can buy one of these. So go check them out. That's all I wanted to say about that. I'm going to hop into the Terraria server a little bit and show you some input. Well, we're just going to play some Terraria. So this Terraria server runs in a Cloud Underground instance that we have set up at our co-location. It's actually running on an ARM system. It's running on a NVIDIA Jetson AGX Xavier. And I like to use this to kind of show you what kind of performance you can potentially expect from an Underground Nexus instance, because gaming is relatively sensitive to latency and to drops and things like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna sign into the server real quick, and then I'm also gonna get our music stream going. So we also do have a 24-hour a day music stream that runs on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, search Cloud Underground, you'll find our company YouTube page, and you should be able to find our live stream on that, assuming that it's running. Sometimes things happen and it goes down, but we try and keep it running as much as we can. So yeah, here's our music stream. So go check that out too. And this is all DMCA free music, so you should be able to use this in the background of your streams or whatever without worrying about DMCA strikes. So alright, almost got my inventory back to where it needs to be. Let's disable PvP. You really don't need PvP active. Oh, this is the living flame die. Let's see, that goes there and there and... Where is... Ah, there we go. And where's my phase die? Phase die. Right there. And right there. Okay, I'm almost ready to go again. Try this. See if I can make it a not complete and total disaster. I thought there was enough room for all this over here, but I don't know, whatever. Where's my good yo-yo? Okay. Ah, that's the problem. That's the problem. Okay. Go back home. Get rid of all this copper crap. That's useless. Okay. So, let me properly prep for this fight this time. So, 2 spiders is helpful. We'll have that guy. We got those. We just need to grab another Eternia crystal, and I can try again, I believe. Give me one of them Eternia crystal thingies. Okay. Okay. Let's get the Spider Queen somewhere where she's actually helpful. That's probably a good spot for her. And then we can do this thing. And then get this guy set up. Right here. Do this like I'm actually competent at playing this game. And I do need to keep an eye on my life because these guys hit pretty hard and they can kill fairly quickly. Oh, nice. I've also got enough now for that. So you gotta keep the eye on the number of mana that you have in order to be able to get as many defenses out as quickly as possible, which is certainly useful. Yeah, that was much, much, much better. Let's see, am I missing any Eternia crystals? Yes, but I don't think that's enough. I need 10 mana in order to spawn one, so we can just get the next wave going. Okay, now I got enough for a second one of these. Oh, that was a little bit of a... That was weird. Ow. Okay, I got enough for a third. Oh. Alright. This is good, this is good. We can go ahead and just get the next wave going. My defenses are quite strong now. Oh, now I gotta deal with wyverns, which generally means I just have to hang out near the crystal because the wyverns can fly past a lot of defenses. Trying to get some more Terraria crystals here. Get out of here, wyvern. Let's put one more of these guys up here. Okay, the wave's completed, so I can go ahead and collect all my stuff. Okay, we got 10. I would like a sentry over here. So we'll put this guy here. And now I'm ready for another wave, I guess. I can't place another Spider Queen sentry, can I? No, just the one. Just checking. Alright, I got enough crystals for another defensive structure of some sort. Alright, that's the wave. Come on, wyvern. Get out of here. Alright, so 20 is actually enough for two things. So I'll put another one of these right here. And I'll put two actually. So that'll give me pretty good defenses near. Not bad, not bad. Oh. These dynamite wyverns, or they're kobolds, maybe. What is it? It's a kobold. Ah, kobold! I like how it says the wave's complete just when they're done coming out of the portals. Because that doesn't seem like all that complete to me, but you know. Alright, I can put two more defensive structures. I think I'm gonna do another one of these guys over here, and another one here. Maybe I should put it here. Oh well, too late. I don't know. Strong as these guys all get, my defenses get so strong by this point. Ah. Whew, that was close. I just have to defend against the dynamite guys at this point. And other wyverns. And I'm not doing a great job. gonna try and use wand. Might be better. Nope, I think the yo-yo is better. I also need help. Holy cow. I'm taking some hits. Ow. Another wave complete? Alright. That was wave 6. And wow, I've got enough for 3 more defensive structures. So, put one of these here, put one here, and then I'm gonna add another one of these guys right here. All right. So we got the boss health bar up. That's a good sign. Ow. Oh, these bosses, they hit you with some slowing crap that's like really gnarly. Ow. All right. Leave me alone, ogre! Okay, another ogre down. Oh, looks like I won. Yeah, that's right. Old One's army defeated. Wow. That was pretty crazy, actually. Alright, cool. That's how you defeat the Old One's army. Violent Huntress's Buckler. Oh, this increases sentries too. Huh. So I think I've got all my items that do that over here. Increase your active dispensary, sentries. There's another thing that increases them. Neato. These guys always seem to drop the same stuff. Like, I always get these ghastly glaives, the creeper's egg, and I don't need any of that. Anyway, cool, so that's Terraria, and that's how you defeat the Old One, in case anybody was curious. I think I'm gonna call it on the Terraria today with that. But, thanks for tuning in. In order to support me and future streams, go and sign up for the RPG of Life Incubator. Make starting a company as easy and straightforward as playing an RPG with RPG of Life Incubator from Cloud Underground. Start building your business for free today. Link in the description. And of course, if you're interested in a dual Pi Raspberry Pi case, go and grab one, because that also supports the stream. So thanks for being here. I hope everybody has a great Monday, and I will see y'all later in the week.